Well, glory be and mercy me, we've done it yet again. Here we are on the daily walk around the graveyard. It's probably going to be one of the more difficult videos I try to shoot. This is the, fourth attempt that I've done it, because it's actually going to be quite personal. I'd like to speak directly to the people who have involved themselves in the convoy and express my feelings about what I see going on. In a hope to reach across and to unify. I don't want to condemn anybody. I don't want to talk down to anybody. I don't want to insult these people. I've been up all night talking to these people, talking to them. And sure, there's the Nazis, right? But those guys have always been around, right? They're always going to come in, tell you to get a job and go die, right? Normal stuff these days, especially. But what is interesting, and what has been slightly troubling, perhaps, are the good-natured people who feel as though they are helping by supporting this protest. And those people, I think, actually do have a kind heart and are interested in actually doing something to seize the moment, seek protest, actually affect change, right? And I can respect this desire. Heck, on this channel, every single video I call for the surrounding of the halls of power, right? And here they are doing it. I can't condemn them for that. They've also asked us not to define the movement by the far-right elements that exist and that show up at it. And I get to thinking, well, we on the left have asked the same in the past. We have said, don't define us by the black bloc during the Occupy movement. We have said during the George Floyd protests, don't define us by the rioters, right? And so, I think that it's fair that we extend the same courtesy to our fellow citizens on the right of the conversation. But honestly, it isn't those far-right fringe elements that I find to be so troubling. What I find to be so troubling is the actual premise of the protest. That the idea is, we're going to reopen. That's the whole idea. We're going to reopen the economy. This is seen as a good by the Conservative Party, by the Conservatives in Canada, by these truckers, by these protesters. We're going to open up the economy. And what is that going to do for everybody, right? Why is that a good? Because it means everybody's going to be able to go back to work and get a job, right? We're all going to be able to engage in the system of capitalism again. And here is where I diverge from my fellow citizens on the right, which is that I simply don't see the system of capital as a net good any longer. That not only do I feel we need to be standing up in protest against the Liberal Party or the government itself, that we need to be standing up in protest against the entire structure of the society, right? That the capitalist system itself has abandoned us and is leaving us out to dry. And what's scary about this protest movement is that it is fundamentally saying, let's do away with support systems, let's do away with all of this stuff, just reopen the economy, right? And have people sell themselves to a labor market dominated by billionaires, right? If you're a conservative and you're hearing that for the first time, I'm going to say it again, right? The labor market that we are supposed to sell ourselves to. You know, when you guys tell us to get a job, you know, when you guys tell us, oh, pull yourselves up by your bootstraps, right? Just go out, shake his hand, look him in the eye, get a job, right? Okay. That market that we sell ourselves to, right, is dominated completely by a small handful of billionaires. That when you are selling yourselves into that labor market, the pool of people who are actually influencers within that market is incredibly small. And it is through this process that we can define the system as a system of wage slavery. If you think that that's a bit extravagant, understand that the system that we live in was defined as wage slavery by Abraham Lincoln. He literally ran on the platform of abolishing the wage slave system, but he could only gather enough energy and power in order to abolish chattel slavery in his lifetime. And now we are living in this system that even the chattel slavers themselves called wage slavery. And this is the system that you, the protesters, conservatives, want us to continue selling ourselves into. That is what is so troubling about this. That, to me, is where the trouble lies. That when you dismissively smirk at someone and scoff in their direction while saying, get a job, right? What you are fundamentally saying is, why don't you go and sell yourself into a labor market dominated by billionaires in a process called wage slavery? This is why I endorse the full-scale abandonment of the capitalist system. That I applaud you for surrounding the halls of power. It's something I wish we on the left could get organized enough to actually achieve. I find your objectives to be quite questionable. Not only because of the theoretical aspect of it. I don't really want to be a wage slave. Thank you very much. But also because the simple practical reality that if we reopened the economy and told everyone to get back to it and get jobs, it's not going to work. And it's not going to work for very simple and clear reasons. The wage no longer pays the rent. Housing costs have gone through the roof. A condo, a 600 square foot condo here in the city of Toronto is now selling for $700,000 on average. Rent for a bachelor suite is beginning to become $2,000 a month. The wage has not moved an inch. The essential workers became unskilled workers instantly. It was like a flipping of the switch. And the people who worked through the pandemic never got a raise. Maybe they got like a little bit for a little moment, right? And we all just were told to trundle along, you heroes who are now unskilled laborers, right? There's a reason why the Great Resignation is upon us. It isn't for some philosophical, high-minded reason. It is because the wage no longer pays the rent. And saying, oh, well, just go get another job is something of a joke when the labor market is dominated by a small handful of billionaires. We can't sell ourselves to anyone else. The market is dominated by the billionaire class, right? So even if we do leave one job to go to another, we're simply selling ourselves to a different business that in many cases is going to be owned by the same billionaire. It's also very charming to say, oh, just go get a better job in a market. Many places across Canada simply don't have that much on offer, right? That it is possible for communities to be destroyed through abandonment. Go to the city of Detroit after the manufacturing base disappeared and tell the people of Detroit, oh, just get a job, just get better jobs. It's this unawareness or misunderstanding of how the labor market actually works and how the structure of capitalism actually functions that I find to be quite troubling. And I find it quite troubling that there are people at the Parliament building right now whose central demand is fundamentally get everybody back to work for a system that is no longer functioning. It was no longer functioning before the pandemic. Homelessness was on the rise before the pandemic. And during this pandemic, we have experienced a wealth extraction to a degree that we have never seen in our society before. The wealth in the United States, the number is as high as $3 to $4 trillion during this period of time. The extraction of wealth from the working class into the hands of the billionaire class as they raise prices, as they price gouge us, claiming it's inflation, all of this kind of stuff. And ostensibly, what you are doing by saying, everybody get back to work, time to reopen the economy, is you are saying, time to sell yourself to these robbers who have stolen from us and subserviate yourself to a system that's no longer going to even pay a subsistence wage any longer. And I haven't even begun talking about the complete catastrophe that is climate change. That the system itself is designed to destroy us. If you don't believe me, ask the people of Lytton what they think about the system of capital and whether or not it will rush to protect us or help us. Or will it instead simply continue to abandon us while you say, once again, for whatever reason, go get a job. We can build a society where humans are not commodities. When you tell me to go get a job, you are not talking to me as if I am a human being. And when you say the rest of us have to sell ourselves and get jobs, so you should too, you are subserviating yourself. You are commodifying yourself. Why are you doing that? Why are you accepting your lot in this regard? Why are you galvanizing this energy, going to Parliament, fighting this fight, putting in the energy, making all this noise, gathering all this attention for anything less than your actual freedom? Because selling yourself to a market dominated by billionaires is not freedom. You have tricked yourself into believing it is freedom. True freedom means that you get to say no. When somebody says, hey, go sell yourself to a group of rapacious psychopaths who are doing everything they can to destroy the civil society and destroy you with it. If you were free, you would be able to say, no, thank you. And we can do that. And the first thing that we need to do in order to achieve that is to acknowledge and admit to one another that we are not commodities to be bought and sold on a labor market. We are human beings. We are brothers and sisters. We are citizens of Canada. We are allies. We can unite. But if you are going to insist that my primary defining feature should be my ability to sell myself as a commodity, then we can never be allies. I sincerely hope that you will come around. I sincerely hope that you will begin to view me as a human being first, and a commodity not at all. Because I think that you should be free of it as well, even as you seek to defend it. Because the system will fail you too. It just hasn't yet. Alright, this will be the end of this video, guys. Please like, please share, please subscribe. I got a Patreon down below. YouTube suppresses this content. They don't want leftists in the conversation, and it's become quite dangerous. Leftists aren't allowed to say the obvious stuff. And so if you don't share it, no one sees it. Always remember, guys, and this is true of our conservative brothers and sisters as well, you are a quantum being walking around in quantum energy. We are here on a temporary basis, as anyone can see. These billionaires are spending hundreds of billions of dollars in the vain hope that we won't realize these truths, and that we'll just continue to commodify ourselves. Revolt, rebel, repent. Good luck. We're gonna need it.